In 2026, something unexpected is happening across the tech world. Millions of everyday computer users who once relied completely on Windows are now making a bold move toward Linux. Not slowly, not hesitantly, but fast. This shift is not just a niche developer trend anymore. It's becoming a mainstream migration wave that is reshaping how people think about operating systems, personal computing, and digital freedom. And the most interesting part is that it is not being driven by hype or marketing. It is being driven by frustration, necessity, and a growing awareness that the computing landscape is changing in ways most people did not anticipate a few years ago. For decades, Windows was the default choice. It came pre-installed on most laptops and desktops, it supported almost every software application, and it was considered the safe, familiar option for work, gaming, school, and general use. Most users never questioned it because they didn't have to. But over time, cracks began to appear. System slowdowns, forced updates at inconvenient times, increasing hardware requirements, background telemetry concerns, subscription-based features creeping into once free tools, and a growing sense of you are not fully in control of your own machine started to build quiet frustration in users worldwide. By 2026, these frustrations have reached a tipping point. Many users are no longer asking, is Windows bad? Instead, they are asking, why am I still using Windows when there might be better alternatives? That question alone is powerful enough to trigger change on a massive scale. One of the biggest reasons behind this migration is performance. Modern Linux distributions in 2026 are not what they used to be a decade ago. They are sleek, fast, and incredibly optimized even for older hardware. While Windows continues to grow heavier with each major update, Linux has taken a different path. It has become modular, lightweight, and highly efficient. This means that users with older laptops or mid-range PCs are discovering something surprising. Their devices feel brand new again after switching to Linux. Boot times drop dramatically, applications open faster, and the system stays responsive, even under heavy multitasking. Another major factor is control. Linux gives users a level of control that Windows simply does not. From customizing the desktop environment to modifying system behavior at a deep level, Linux allows users to shape their operating system according to their needs, rather than forcing them into a fixed ecosystem. In 2026, this level of control is becoming more attractive as people become more aware of privacy, data ownership, and digital independence. Users are no longer comfortable with systems that make decisions on their behalf without transparency. Privacy concerns have also played a huge role in this shift. Over the past several years, Windows has increasingly integrated cloud services, online accounts, and telemetry features that collect system usage data. While these features are often justified as improving user experience, many users feel uncomfortable with the amount of data being gathered. Linux, on the other hand, offers distributions that prioritize privacy by design. Users can choose systems that do not collect data, do not require accounts, and do not connect to external servers unless explicitly configured to do so. In an era where digital privacy is becoming a global concern, this is a major advantage. Gaming, once considered a weak point for Linux, has also improved dramatically. In earlier years, gamers avoided Linux due to compatibility issues with popular titles. But by 2026, compatibility layers, driver support, and gaming-focused distributions have advanced to a point where a large percentage of Windows games run smoothly on Linux. This change has removed one of the biggest barriers preventing mass adoption. Many gamers are now realizing that they can enjoy the same performance, sometimes even better frame rates, without being locked into Windows. Software availability used to be another strong argument for Windows. Professional applications like video editing tools, design software, and enterprise programs were often exclusive to Windows or worked best there. But the landscape has changed. Many powerful open-source alternatives have matured significantly, and cloud-based tools now run through browsers, regardless of operating system. This means that the dependency on Windows-specific software has reduced drastically. In fact, many users are discovering that their entire workflow can be replicated or even improved on Linux without paying expensive subscription fees. Cost is another subtle but important factor. Windows itself may come pre-installed, but the ecosystem around it increasingly pushes paid services, upgrades, and subscriptions. Microsoft 365, cloud storage expansions, premium features, and enterprise licensing all contribute to a growing cost burden. Linux, being open source, removes most of these expenses. For students, freelancers, startups, and developing regions, this is a major advantage. In 2026, when global economic pressures are still affecting individuals and small businesses, free and powerful software is not just appealing, it is strategic. The role of AI and automation in operating systems is also influencing this shift. Windows has been integrating AI assistants and background services that aim to simplify user tasks, but many users feel these additions are unnecessary or intrusive. Linux communities, on the other hand, have adopted AI tools in a more flexible and optional manner. Users can choose what they want, install what they need, and avoid what they don't. This modular approach aligns better with users who want efficiency without overload. Another major reason for the rapid migration is system longevity. Windows systems tend to slow down over time, especially after multiple updates and software installations. Linux systems, when properly configured, tend to remain stable and fast for years without needing reinstallations. This long-term stability is extremely appealing to users who are tired of constantly upgrading hardware just to keep up with software demands. In 2026, sustainability is also becoming a major concern, and extending the life of existing hardware is both economically and environmentally beneficial. The rise of user-friendly Linux distributions has also played a critical role. In the past, Linux was seen as complex, requiring command line knowledge and technical expertise. But modern distributions have changed that perception completely. Today's Linux systems come with intuitive graphical interfaces, simple installation processes, and app stores that rival mainstream platforms. For an average Windows user, switching to Linux no longer feels like learning a new language. It feels more like upgrading to a cleaner, faster version of something familiar. Community support is another underrated factor. Linux communities are known for being highly active, collaborative, and supportive. When users face issues, they often find detailed solutions, guides, and discussions available freely online. This contrasts with more formal support systems where responses can be slow or restricted behind paywalls. In 2026, users value quick, community-driven problem-solving more than ever. Security is also a major driver of this transition. Windows has historically been a larger target for malware, viruses, and ransomware due to its massive user base. While security has improved significantly, the architecture still makes it a frequent target. Linux, with its permission-based structure and smaller attack surface in desktop environments, offers a more secure experience by default. Users do not need heavy antivirus software running in the background, which also improves performance. Corporate influence and trust issues are also part of the story. Many users feel that large tech companies are increasingly controlling how they use their devices, what software they can install, and how their data is handled. Linux represents an alternative philosophy: open source development, transparency, and community ownership. This ideological difference is becoming more important in 2026 as users become more aware of digital rights and autonomy. Education systems and workplaces are also slowly contributing to this change. Many institutions are adopting Linux-based systems for teaching programming, cybersecurity, and server management. As new generations of students become familiar with Linux early on, they carry that familiarity into their professional lives. At the same time, businesses are realizing that Linux servers already dominate the internet infrastructure, making desktop Linux a more natural extension of their existing systems. Another overlooked factor is customization culture. In 2026, digital personalization is more important than ever. People want their devices to reflect their identity, workflow, and preferences. Linux allows deep customization from visual themes to system behavior to resource management. Windows offers limited customization in comparison, often restricted by system-level limitations. This creative freedom is attracting power users, developers, designers, and even casual users who simply want a unique experience. Even hardware manufacturers are starting to adapt. More laptops and desktops are being shipped with Linux pre-installed or offering official Linux support. This signals a major shift in the industry, because hardware support has always been one of the biggest challenges for Linux adoption. As this barrier continues to disappear, the transition becomes even smoother for everyday users. Social influence is also accelerating the trend. As more people share their positive experiences switching to Linux on social platforms, forums, and video platforms, curiosity spreads. When users see others successfully gaming, working, and studying on Linux without issues, it reduces fear of switching. This word-of-mouth effect is extremely powerful in 2026's interconnected digital environment. However, this shift is not about Windows disappearing. Windows still remains dominant in many sectors, especially enterprise environments and certain professional industries. But what is changing is the balance of perception. Windows is no longer seen as the only viable option. It is now one of several choices, each with its own strengths and weaknesses. What we are witnessing in 2026 is not just a technical migration, but a psychological one. Users are redefining their relationship with technology. They are no longer satisfied with passive consumption of software ecosystems. They want freedom, speed, privacy, and control. Linux represents those values more closely than any mainstream operating system today. The real reason Windows users are switching to Linux fast in 2026 is not a single feature or update. It is a combination of many factors building up over time: performance frustration, privacy awareness, cost concerns, hardware limitations, improved Linux usability, gaming advancements, community support, and a growing desire for digital independence. Each factor alone might not be enough to trigger mass migration, but together, they create a powerful movement that is impossible to ignore. And as this trend continues, it is likely that the gap between Windows and Linux will keep narrowing in unexpected ways. Competition will push innovation on both sides, but the real winner will be the users, who now have more choice, more power, and more freedom than ever before in the history of personal computing.